Canon is releasing a brand new lens aimed at wildlife photographers. The Canon RF 200 to 800mm, and it promises to be pretty great. Until it's released to the general public, we have to rely on reviews from limited sources with pre-production models. So I thought, while we're waiting on that, let's see what other 800mm options Canon has available for under $3,000. One option would be the spectacular Canon RF 100 to 500mm lens, combined with the Canon R7 camera body. With the crop sensor, the 500mm focal length becomes the equivalent of 800mm. Another option is the Canon RF 800mm f11 prime lens, combined with the Canon R5 camera body. I happen to already own all this equipment, so I'm going to take them out into the yard and give you a very quick example of what these combinations can do for you. I am mounting both camera and lens combinations on a sturdy cinema tripod with a dual head mount so that it can resist the wind we're having today. It may not be easy to detect in the video, but the wind is blowing the signs around quite a bit. This is a good test as it will be closer to what you might have to deal with in a wildlife situation, especially with birds that move around a lot. I'm going to use spot focus and aim directly at the center bolt head in the middle of the sign on both cameras. Notice that you can't change the aperture on the 800mm prime lens, you're stuck with f11. So you have to compensate with either shutter or ISO. In this case, I'm setting both cameras to ISO 100. Something important to notice here is that the 100 to 500mm zoom lens can open up to f7.1, which means much faster shutter speeds for the same ISO. This is a huge advantage, in my opinion. And even though the upcoming 200 to 800mm lens can open to f9, it will still mean slower shutter speeds at low ISO. Now that I have the cameras tuned in, I'm setting each of them to a 10-second timer and snapping their photos. Let's take a look at the results. The first thing you might notice is that the 800mm prime on the Canon R5 camera body produces a slightly larger 100% crop than the Canon R7 camera body produces with the 100 to 500mm. But you may also notice that the image is not as sharp on the 800 prime compared to the 100 to 500 lens. This could be due to the slower shutter speed that had to be used to attain the same ISO on both cameras, which again is a huge disadvantage. Taking a look at the full resolution images from both lenses looks very similar. In fact, it's nearly impossible to tell them apart. You don't really see the differences until you zoom in. And with a lot of wildlife images, you do end up cropping, so this is key. As mentioned previously, until production units of the Canon RF 200 to 800mm lens start getting into circulation, it will be difficult to determine if the nearly $2,000 price tag will be worth it for the lens. But until then, you do have other viable options available. Thank you for watching, and I hope you found some value in this video. Be sure to subscribe for more content.